Have you have you recovered from the weekend? And I'm not just talking about the weather. I think people love boxing for moments like that. Fabio Wardley, a punch from. It wasn't a punch from the gods. It was just a brilliant punch. But what drama! What a result!
It was. I mean, he was well behind on the cards. You know, he had a good first round, good third round, and then uh, Justice Hooney boxed extremely well. And I take my hat off to him going into Fabio's backyard. 22,000 people there behind their man, but he went in there and he was boxing extremely well and handling himself well. But as both of them said at the press conference, I think Hooney said, I'm a really good quality boxer. I'm going to go and box his head off, and I will win this fight. And that was what was happening. And then at the same press conference, Fabio said it only takes a split second for him, split second, and he ends everybody's dreams. And that's what he did. I mean, as you say, it was an unbelievable punch. Um, Edge of the seat stuff, dramatic, and the whole place went crazy.
Yeah, brilliant scenes. I've seen loads of the clips, describing the limbs at ringside. Everybody reacted the same way. It was great. Um, I've heard you talk to other outlets. I think there were some alarm bells starting to ring, and not, I don't want to say panic, but you did what you have done previously when it really, really gets tough. You've gone in the corner there and just made it absolutely clear that they know that they need a knockout. Did you think he was going to get it?
Yeah, he just what I was surprised at, during the fight, he just wasn't letting that right hand go. He did it at the end of the first round. He wobbled him, but he didn't. He wasn't letting it go, and he just wasn't composed. His composure wasn't great, and it just wasn't happening. And I sort of twice I went to the ring, but before he knocks him over, I went to the corner. I said, "Listen, you are a mile behind here on points. You've got to knock him out, and the only way you're going to knock him out is to let that right hand go. You got to let it go." And if you let it go, you'll catch him because I mean, I like to think I know a little bit about boxing. I could see that he was susceptible to it, but he just wasn't firing. But once he did it, it was a great shot. He sort of moved to his left. He bent down and bowled it over. And he's a powerful puncher. I mean, he's stopped now. Was it 19 of his 20 opponents? He's a
Yeah.
big puncher. He's a dangerous one. If he catches you, no matter who it is, if he catches you, you go.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about his future shortly. I've had plenty of messages from Hooney's camp. You will have seen some of their correspondence protesting. They're not happy about John Latham's count. They plan a protest. What's your view on what happened at the end with the count and the stoppage?
Well, I've watched it back since, and a lot of people think that the referee, first of all, when he was down, the referee didn't start counting. He was making sure that Fabio went to a neutral corner, and then and what happens in boxing? The referee then looks to the timekeeper. The timekeeper is counting the seconds away. So I think it was around. He was up to three or four, and then he picks up the count. So what he done? He counted him out. I mean, and the one thing about it, I mean, which way you look at it, you can watch that back a million times. Justice doesn't complain at all. He knew he was, if he'd have carried on, he'd have got badly hurt.
Do you expect them to have any success with that appeal?
No.
With Fabio moving forward, obviously he's got so many options and he's so marketable. Probably the easiest question that you're going to have all day. Like, what do you want to do with him? In any of those options, is a rematch a possibility?
Yeah, I mean, people would buy into that, wouldn't they? It was a bloody good fight. I mean, it was a really good, edgier seat fight. I mean, I loved it. Perversely, I loved it, especially the end of it. But he, he's now the WBA interim champion, so he's in a good position. We've got the big show on the 19th of July at Wembley, where we've got Usyk in with Daniel Dubois. Four belts are on the line for the first time ever. Once that fight takes place, somebody's going to hold those belts, and then the governing bodies will start calling for their mandatory defences, most of them are overdue. The first one will be the WBO, which is Joseph Parker, who is the interim champion for the WBO. So he's the first one in for that. And I think the next one after that probably is the WBA. So it's it's great and interesting times for these guys. All they got to do is keep winning, and they'll get their shot at the belts. Or even if the belts, they may fragment, we don't know. But if they do, the interim champions get declared full champions, and then will obviously then have to defend their respective titles. So it's this heavyweight division's on fire at the moment. It's probably been the most exciting times of this century for the heavyweight division. Good fights, quality fights. There's a big fight happening nearly every month now. We're going to announce a big fight next week. We've got a press conference, a big fight for a Riyadh season. I can't go into the details of it, but it's a fabulous card involving a few real good quality British fighters. So I'm really looking forward to that. This is a great time for British boxing.
If I was being a bit mischievous, Frank, and you can clip my wings, but would that be Moses Itauma against Dillian Whyte?
I know you're mischievous, and I don't want to clip your wings.
Without giving the game away, I think I'd had to have been living on the moon not to know.
Well, the Ring magazine put a post out, didn't they, saying
yeah, exactly,
starting the rumor mongering. Look, next week everything will become apparent, but I promise you, everybody's going to be excited about what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about Moses Itauma, where is he in that mix? So Queensberry have got so many heavyweights at the moment, just sort of going on from Fabio Wardley. Moses Itauma, is he within striking distance, you would say, of the big one?
He's 20 years of age. I mean, he's a baby compared to all these guys. 20 years of age. He's going to have his next fight will be a fight against a recognised competitor, a tough guy, and it's an important fight for him. It'll be his toughest fight yet. But he is the one that everybody is talking about, including myself. I like everything about him, what he's done up to as yet. He's a very mature 20-year-old. I mean, he's got a fabulous amateur background, European champion, junior champion, knocked everybody out to win that title, world champion, amateur champion, knocked out, or if he didn't knock him out, he put him on the floor. Everybody. He's a big puncher himself, and he's done brilliantly up to now as a professional. And his last fight, I thought he looked sensational up in Scotland. He'd done a great job, and it's the way he does it and his composure. And it's amazing. When I got into boxing, all the big name fighters were in America. All the big heavyweights, I should say, all came from America, and then it was Eastern Europe. Now it's Britain, except for Usyk, and we'll hopefully knock him over with our man Daniel Dubois on the 19th, and then it's the Brits will rule the waves or the rings.
I don't, certainly not in my time, have we really had anybody. I don't think there's anybody like Moses Itauma. I certainly haven't worked with anyone like him. It is just the most fascinating talent. In all your years that you've been doing this now, you might have lost count. Have you ever worked with anybody like Moses Itauma that you could compare? Do you see Moses compared to any of your talents as you were coming through many moons ago, or is he unique?
I've got to be honest, Daniel Dubois, because at that stage he was undefeated and knocking people over himself. And he had a couple of hiccups on the way, but there were reasons and whatever. But look where he is now. He's shown that you grit your teeth and carry on. And as far as Moses is concerned, I mean, he has this unbelievable confidence, this unbelievable aura about him. When you meet an athlete and you feel there's something special about him. He has that aura and that sort of that comes off of him when you meet him.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that and the fact he's completely understated. No, he doesn't seem to be bothered by anything. It's just very, very unique. If you just go back one step, mentioning what the Ring posted, Nick Ball looks to be back against Ray Ford in a rematch. Can you confirm that one?
I'd love that fight to happen. I hope that could happen. I mean, that'd be a great fight, wouldn't it? Nick Ball's been brilliant. I love Nick Ball. He's an amazing success story. Again, come up through the ranks with us. great manager and trainer in Paul Stevenson. That Everton Triangle Gym is a fabulous gym. He's done great work up there, and when you look at Nick, he should be actually be holding a couple of the belts, unified champion. I mean, he's a man on a mission, and if we make this fight, if it happens, it's going to be it's a tough one. But if he comes through it, there's a great fight down the road with him and Inui, the Japanese superstar. That would be a fabulous fight. But let's see what happens. We've got big announcements, I say, next week involving some of our big names.
Alois Jr. is living up to his promises, isn't he? He's very, very explosive. He's made no secret that he wants Vidal Riley, holder of the British title. Are you calling for that one?
I am, but he doesn't. From what I'm hearing, Vidal doesn't fancy it. He said that he's not too much up for it. And Alois, I've got to tell you something. He can punch. I mean, he is a phenomenal puncher. He actually punches the fight out of you. Really, really good fighter. Again, up in Scotland, he has great performance up there against a good quality fighter. And I think he's only had about 11 fights now, and he's so far ahead of schedule. Good fighter. I hope though we can make that fight because that's what it's all about. The best fighting the best.
Yeah, absolutely. The best fighting the best is Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, without a shadow of a doubt. What differences have you seen in Daniel this time round compared to Daniel first time round, where it didn't quite go his way on the night?
Well, I'm going to go with what his manager said, what Usyk's manager said, Aegis. Aegis came out. He said, "This time we're not fighting Daniel the boy, we're fighting Daniel the man," and I think that's the difference. Since that Usyk fight, which he was an underdog going into, and he showed that his punch power and hurt Usyk. And obviously, I'm going to go into the big debate about low blows or not, but he took a 4-minute break before he resumed boxing. And Daniel had to grow up after that, and he did grow up, and he's had 3 magnificent wins since against undefeated fighters, all either former world champions or interim champions, as I say, are undefeated guys. Went in against each one of them in Babe Miller as an underdog, knocked him out in the 12th round, and showed at any time in a fight, no matter how late it is, if he catches you, you go. Went into the fight with the bogeyman in the division, which nobody wanted to fight Hrgović at all. He was the interim champion. It had been avoided as a mandatory of the IBF for at least 2 years. No one wanted to fight him. We made that fight, and he had a hard first 3 rounds against him. Hrgović was catching him with good shots, but he gritted his teeth, changed his tactics, and stopped Hrgović, which was nobody thought could happen. I did because I'm a know-all, but I thought he would do it. And then obviously the big one at Wembley, 2-time world champion, went in the Lions Den because everybody there was behind AJ, and done an absolute job on him from round 1. I mean, he had him on the floor 4 or 5 times. So this time round, he's got that behind him. He's on a high. He knows what he's got to do. He's shared a ring already with Usyk, and he believes he can do it. I believe he can do it. But Usyk believes he can repeat what he did last time. Whatever happens, we've got up to now, we've sold 74,500 tickets. It's going to be jumping the place on the night. And it's going to be a fabulous fight. I'm convinced of that.
When you talk about your confidence in him winning there, do you envisage him knocking Usyk out, or do you envisage Daniel winning on points?
If he catches him, he'll knock him out.
That would be a statement.
He's a massive puncher. You only got to look what he's done. He's another one. He's a big puncher, and he's young. He's only 27 years of age, and he's a young 27 years of age. And you look at his resume, there's not a lot of fighters at his age who fought the quality of opposition on their records. But he's fought good quality opposition, and he's learnt, and he's beat most of them.
Can I stay with the heavyweights? You always flat bat it back to me, but Tyson Fury, you cannot surely now deny that there's enough online momentum, videos. Sugar Hill's been there. He's been hitting pads. He's running. Looks great. You got to meet me halfway here. He looks like he's preparing for some sort of comeback.
I'm going to meet you the whole way there. He looks all those things you said, but whether he's going to come back or not, I have no idea. That would be his choice. He trains hard. He's in the gym all the time. That's something that he feels he needs to do. It helps him with his bipolar. It helps him with that, and that's great for him. But at the moment, he's in a real good place. with his family. He's been having lots of trips. He's got 7 kids. He's got a lovely wife in Paris. They're enjoying life. He's enjoying the fruits of his labours, the hard work that he's put in over the years, and he's made a lot of money. He doesn't need to do it for money. If he does do it, it's because he's a true fighting man, and that's what he needs to do. But he'll make that decision. He's got a big, I think they announced it last week. He's got season 2 of the At Home with the Furies on Netflix. So he's very busy at the moment. He's got other things happening in his life. But if he wants to do it, he'll do it.
I think British boxing fans, most of them would want to see him come back and fight Anthony Joshua. But if Daniel Dubois becomes undisputed and Tyson Fury comes back, would you make that fight?
If Tyson came back and if he wanted to do it, I'd prefer not to. I'll be honest about it. But if he come back and he wanted to do it and Daniel wanted to do it, that's the business they're in. They're in the business of professional boxing.
Yeah, and they're all good problems to have, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, they are, but as I keep saying, this heavyweight division is magnificent at the moment. The fights, exciting fights. I mean, Moses up in Scotland, the fight at Ipswich, the even Derek Chisora's last fight. He's the mandatory for the WBC title. It's just alive. The whole thing's alive. And he wants his big day. He wants his 50th fight. He wants to end on his 50th fight. And he wants to fight for the title.
Yeah. Although if I was a betting man, we'll see him at fight number 60 in some capacity. He's not going anywhere yet, is he? Let's see where we're going. What about Hamza? That's an interesting build-up because Edgar Berlanga, he's got a fair few things to say, hasn't he? And Hamza, probably for the first time, he's met his match with a trash talker. He's up with Andy Lee now, or away with Andy Lee. Do you make Hamza an underdog in this one? And how important is that step up in weight for Hamza? I don't think anybody that spent time with him out in Saudi, he was huge for the weight. I think everybody thinks that stepping up in weight is going to benefit Hamza. Will it benefit him enough to beat Berlanga, do you think?
I think it will benefit. He did struggle at the weight last time out. There's no doubt about that. He was struggling at the weight. He's gone up, but he's not dipped his toe in the water and said, right, I'm going to bed down. Let me have a fight at that weight first. He's gone straight into the deep end against Berlanga, who's a bloody good fighter, a very good fighter. And not only that, he's going over to the States to do it. That's the belief that he has and we have in him. It's a big night for this ring show on the 12th of July. And it's a big night for Hamza. I believe he can do it. He believes it. But I've got to tell you, it's going to be exciting. That's going to be another exciting fight.
Yeah, I'll make you right. May I ask you just about Delicious Ori? Signed professional terms with you and had one fight. And I think he's been widely applauded for coming out with a statement that he did that said if his heart's not in it, then it's not for him. He's going to come back to his studies and try and make his way in the corporate world. Disappointing, I'm sure, for you guys because you signed him to take him big places. But if your heart isn't fully in it, which I think Delicious has said it wasn't, he was perhaps looking for something that he couldn't fulfill. What have you got to say on that?
I'll take my hat off to him. He's not just he's not just stayed in there and just thought I'll get him the money and then bail out. He's basically saying if I can't be 100%, then I'm not going to do it. And you've got to respect him and respect his judgment. It's the toughest of all sports. You're getting punched by your opponent. It's dangerous. And if you're not right and you're not feeling right, and the most important thing for any boxer, besides being fit, physically fit, is being mentally there. And if you're not mentally there, then don't do it. And I applaud his decision and respect his decision. And as I say, he'll always be a guest at our shows. He's such a nice guy. He's done brilliantly as an amateur. He represented his country with pride, and anybody who speaks about him, they all love him. And I wish him well for the future in whatever he decides he's going to do with his life.
Yeah, very well said. If I can keep you for a couple more minutes, got two more, Frank. We haven't spoken since Ben Whittaker, Liam Cameron. It didn't go Liam's way on the night. What was your reflections on that? I mean, I don't want to go back to refereeing and stoppages. Did you have any major issues with the stoppage? Liam didn't complain too much.
No, he didn't. And I don't think there can be any complaint about that. It was what it was at the end of the day.
I think you spoke quite openly about their strength for the heavyweight division, but Queensberry have got quite a few good, dangerous light heavyweights now. How interested would you be in trying to do a deal where you could see Ben Whittaker in with the likes of Willie Hutchinson, Louis Edmondson, Ezra Taylor?
I'd love it. I love it. You left another one out with, with light heavyweights with Anthony Yard.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, but I don't want to keep.
There's some
I don't want to
great
keep talking to you
fights
about
there.
these announcements that you can't make. But there's obviously whispers of Callum Smith against Anthony Yard.
I wish that fight was made. I wish. We'll see what happens. That's a big wish, but we'll see where we go with that. But Anthony, Anthony Odd, who's back in the mix now. He had a bit of time out the ring. He's back. Look, it's exciting times in that light heavyweight division, and I'd love to see a few of my guys in with Ben Whittaker. I think it'd be some good fights. And Josh Buatsy's there as well. He's still there. He's still there. There's some great fights to be made in that division.
You know what? If you don't mind finishing on this, because I saw Queensbury put a lovely tribute out. Anthony Yard. It's just pricked my interest there. Obviously, boxing lost James Cook, MBE, at the weekend. How sad is that? Just one of boxing's really good guys. Totally selfless individual.
He was. I got somebody rang me on Saturday and told me, and I'd seen him. He worked with Anthony. He was in the dressing room at Tottenham, and I looked at him, and he didn't look. He didn't look too well, but it was such a shock, and how quickly apparently it happened from his diagnosis. And he's one of sports boxing's good guys. He was a really good fighter in a really exciting era. He won the European title. Real proper solid professional. Good trainer. And done a lot outside the ring for kids, and I mean on the ground in gyms, helping troubled kids, looking after, from the community. Really a top bloke, and it's very sad. Boxing will miss him. I'm sure all those kids who he's helped will miss him, and it's just all of us. We all send our condolences to his family and his loved ones for the sad and tragic loss of him. He is one of the good guys, and may he rest in peace. God bless him.
Yeah, echo everything you said there. Nice way to finish it. Nice tribute. Thanks very much for giving us some of your time there, Frank. And if you've got a big announcement next week, hopefully we'll see you then.
I'll definitely see you there, and hopefully we'll settle all of your anxieties.
Listen, I've not got any anxieties. I'm all right. Whatever happens, nice one, mate. Thank you very much.
Hold tight, are you ready for the ride of your life?